You've either seen it online a lot, or maybe you just noticed by yourself. The decline of 3D platformers. But why? What caused it and why has it been going on for so long? In this video essay, I will go into all of that. I've been playing 3D platformers for more than 2 decades now, so as a big fan of the genre, I will gladly take the deepest dive into this topic with you and look at it from every angle. So let's start. First of all, a short history lesson. I very quickly found that Alpha Waves from 1990, an odd game, is recognized and credited as the first 3D platformer. And while a lot of games at that time had pseudo 3D, such as some Super Nintendo launch titles like F-Zero and the later Super Mario Kart, which use a very impressive technique called Mode 7, here are a few videos on how it works, it's actually super creative. Alpha Waves is said to have true 3D. I kept digging and found this though, which apparently has true 3D as well. It goes beyond X and Y, which would technically make this the first true 3D video game. Anyways, that's not what this video is about. The real true 3D era as we know and love it, when it was definitely 100% real and true 3D and looked good and had fun gameplay, the 32-64-bit era, started with the PlayStation in 1994 and the Nintendo 64 in 1996. This was when all of these classic 3D platformers appeared we all keep mentioning and referencing when talking about 3D platformers. Super Mario 64 on the 23rd of June 1996, Crash Bandicoot on the 9th of September 1996, Banjo-Kazooie on the 29th of June 1998, Donkey Kong 64 on the 22nd of November 1999, Banjo-Tooie on the 20th of November 2000, and so on and so on. The genre kept shining with Super Mario Sunshine, Sonic, more Crash Bandicoot, SpongeBob and more. But then, after only about 10 years, 3D platformers started declining. And that's not some grand revelation people had recently. No. This has been common knowledge for more than a decade now. There's for example this Reddit post here from 2015. There's also this The Death of the 3D Platformer article from 2013. And this post from 2012. So this is old knowledge. And all of these people are right. Here is some data to back them up. On this graph you can clearly see what we just established. The 3D platformer decade and the genre's subsequent fall. Reaching 2015, the most popular genres are role-playing, sports, shooter and action. Now this graph only shows physical copies sold, no digital online ones, and only until 2015, but the trend is still the same nowadays and with digital copies included. Here's Statista for example with a very new, fresh and recent 2024 report. And again, shooter, action, sports. And this website here as well. Shooter, adventure, roleplay, sports. And the best selling games. Shooter, adventure, roleplay, sports. That's the gaming culture, the gaming environment right now, and has been for a while. The development can be seen very nicely on, of course, the graph we just looked earlier, but also on this nice history timeline here with pictures, because that's nicer than just numbers. If only the image quality was better, but it does the job and serves as a good overview as to how the gaming world changed. I can turn it into an even better overview by putting the graph from earlier on the side. It all started with almost exclusively shooters and action. Then, as you can super clearly see, whoever made this timeline nailed the start of the platformer really accurately with 1985. You know what game released in 1985? Super Mario Bros. With over 40 million units sold, along with many other platformers with many millions of units sold. And that was back in the day when gaming was way smaller. Just to show you how crazy that is, the best-selling Nintendo 64 game, Super Mario 64, sold under 12 million copies. The best-selling GameCube game, Super Smash Bros. Melee, sold under 8 million copies. And less than number 9 on this list here, Super Mario Bros. 2. Whoever made this timeline is, according to the statistics, right about the rise of role-playing games as well. And the consistent and strong rise of sports, shooters and action games is obvious too. It's interesting to see how shooters and action games started very strong, then for some time were barely represented, and then came back to be super powerful, where they reign along with sports and role-playing games as we established earlier, and that's how it's been for 2 decades now. Sports, shooters, action and role-playing games. So a short answer to the video's title, the reason for 3D platformers decline, could simply be the gaming culture changed, the gaming environment changed, the people's interests and preferences changed. That is obviously a very correct answer, and if that's enough for you, then alright. But maybe you want to know more and go even deeper because a cultural shift happened? Okay, But why? What made it happen? Why less 3D platformers and such a strong shooter prevalence? And that is a very good but also difficult question to answer. I will try my best. Let's look at the following potential explanations. 1. Did Donkey Kong 64 kill it? No. Donkey Kong 64 sold only 5 million units and most people like it. 2. Is there not enough demand for them? There absolutely is. Yooka-Laylee's Kickstarter campaign reached its $270,000 goal in less than 30 minutes, and it's also the #1 fastest game to have reached $1 million on Kickstarter. The newly released Astrobot is doing insanely well and was even nominated for Game of the Year in 2024. Maybe it will even win. The results will come out on December the 12th, whereas this video's release today is on December the 1st. So as of right now we don't know yet, but even being nominated is huge for a 3D platformer. In 2017, Super Mario Odyssey was in the top 5 best games of the year and it sold more than 28 million copies. 3. Are shooters quicker and easier to understand? I don't think there are any studies on this, so I can't really do a lot of research on this, but I'll just try to answer this on my own. I highly doubt it. You shoot, sure, easy. If that was all there's to it, then shooters wouldn't be so prevalent in esports with millions of dollars in prize money. There's probably a lot of strategizing and precise aiming involved, I don't know, I'm not into shooting people. In 3D platformers on the other hand, you jump. Maybe even throw out an attack here and there. Generally, 3D platformers are specifically made for a casual audience though. There are oftentimes childish looking family games purposely made easier so anyone, even kids, can enjoy them. So I would definitely argue that 3D platformers are easier to pick up, yet they aren't as big in sales. So accessibility is probably not what makes shooters so successful. If it was the ease of picking a genre up, then 3D platformers would be way bigger. Actually, games like Animal Crossing would be the biggest genre then. But they are not. So I thought, what do these 4 big genres have in common? 4. Is it the graphics? 3D platformers usually look like this. What do you call this? Cartoon graphics? And personally, I 100% prefer that. If I want something to look as realistic as possible, then I simply go outside. I don't want video games to look like this. I don't think this is a video game look and I don't like these games. But what I think isn't necessarily what everyone thinks. So I did some research on what most people prefer. Stylized graphics seem to be what the majority prefers. Or is it? Let's be careful with the context here. This is a certain group here, game designers, not casual players. According to these here, cartoon graphics are easier and cheaper to make. Maybe that's why designers in the game design subreddit prefer them. Maybe people who prefer realistic designs are too overwhelmed by the difficulty and don't even start designing in the first place or give up quickly, and therefore would not be active in this subreddit. So I kept digging. I wanted unbiased opinions. And then I found this here. Okay, Fortnite is huge, Overwatch is huge, Minecraft and League are huge, but then also at the same time, realistic looking ones are huge. The graphics don't seem to be the reason for 3D platformers' decline at all, as many huge games have cartoony graphics. And even many realistic looking games see a lot of success. 5. Is it the online? Here it gets very interesting. The 4 biggest and best sold video game genres are played, or at the very least have, online. Role-playing games, shooters and sports games are all very online based. That's an understatement even. A lot of the time, online is their #1 main focus. It's oftentimes the reason why you play them. During the platformer era, online play was a lot less developed. But as online play improved, internet connections and servers got faster, processors could handle more players at the same time, netcode programming got better, World of Warcraft came out and was immense, and so on and so on. People started to be able to play with many more people, and that a lot easier. No, the friend didn't have to come over. Just play online from home. Oh, he has a cold or you had a fight? No problem. Play with thousands of other players instead. You don't have to ask anyone to come over, you don't need appointments, neither temporal nor spatial restrictions. Quick and easy. Also, almost 90% report that games introduced them to new friends and relationships. And now let's look at 3D platformers. Nope. 6. Is it replayability? This, I think, is another big one. Role-playing games are oftentimes super long. There are constantly quests, events, dungeons, there's always something to do. Some take very long to beat, and some others just straight up never end. They just go on forever. You are never done. You can just sit down after work, boot up the game, and there is always something new to do. Matches in shooters or sports games, you can always just have a new match, and every match is different. There's so much variety. 7. Is it money? Now this is a weaker point, the previous 2 were much better I think, but I want to mention this one anyways. 3D platformers cost money, and you will most likely never make any with them. Games such as League of Legends, Fortnite, Counter-Strike and others however, are 100% free to play and you could technically become a millionaire with them. No costs and potential income. This point combined with the previous 2 and mainly the previous 2, online and replayability, I think made the shift in gaming culture happen. These 2, so I believe, led to the current gaming environment. Phew! And that's my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, then there's a like button for you. And consider subscribing. Bye!